Welcome, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Spiritual Catalyst podcast, where we talk about all things weird and woo. I am your host, Sarah Lyons, the founder of the newearthschool.com.au, and today we have Claudia Cantori with us to talk about mindset and emotional mastery. Claudia is a skilled and passionate mentor with 10 years of experience in emotional well-being and emotional intelligence development. Her approach is the result of blending different perspectives cohesively and coherently. In her sessions, she holds sacred space for her clients to be able to shift and transmute emotionally, activate wellness in their own lives, and forge an unstoppable, heart-centered mindset. Claudia, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So welcome. It's good to have you here. And I'm glad we're talking about this topic because I really feel like, the state of the world at the moment, especially after the last few years, emotional intelligence and emotional mastery is really going to assist all of us really to navigate these interesting times. And I'm sure you've got so many different perspectives on this. I'd love to know, what is that main theme that your clients come to you with in regards to this?
Well, first of all, I have to say that the reason why I sort of really started to focus on emotional intelligence is because I felt that that was really the only thing that really truly worked. I love, there's so many beautiful ways of healing and techniques and stuff like that. But I feel like those are all, for me, for my experience, it's like they're all support systems to the emotional work. So you always go down to the emotional work ultimately. So people who come to me, they usually feel like stuck in something. They experience chronic stress, chronic anxiety. That was also my story as well. And sort of we look at reframing it in an empowering way and in a way that they can truly believe it. And so it is a journey, but it is the most empowering journey possible, because you get to the core of the emotion, and once you have the tools to bring yourself to a state of feeling better, then you can turn around pretty much everything. And so it's really going down to the basics and to the core.
I love that. That's powerful. And I can see how this would be just invaluable in all areas of life, but in particular,
exactly.
Relationships, marriages, within businesses, in business, we can get triggered. So I'm wondering, what's your process? What's a process you would take someone through for, triggers, I guess, but even, that anxiety, because they're very strong energies in our collective fields at the moment.
Yeah. So it really depends on the person. So there's no one fit all, but I would say that generally speaking, so if somebody would come to me and be like, I feel this anxiety about this particular topic and I can't really shift it. It's just like, it's always been like that. I was brought up like that and so on. And so we go and look at the thinking and the way they perceive their reality. And so from then onwards, we start sort of, for some people, so this is like, I would say the two major differences is there are some people who feel a lot of relief going back to the particular time in childhood where they feel that all that started, like the pain point started. And then there's some other people are like, no, I really don't feel like going and digging into my past. I'd rather like take it from now and sort of shift my mindset from what is happening right now. And I think like both ways are valid. And I was actually talking with one client recently, and she was saying exactly that. She was like, I don't feel like going and digging in my childhood would bring me any good. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. I know that it's an approach that it's often used, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so she's like, if I can, get to the trigger of why my husband, whatever he says and gets me really enraged, if we can look at why that is from this particular moment, then we can, it's because I feel not valued, it's because I feel like completely underappreciated, then we can address those the specific emotions and turn them around by simply seeing that they are not our emotions. Our emotions are just an indicator of our own thinking. And so you kind of like detach yourself from that reality and sort of start to look at it from a different perspective. And I feel that that's when really like the big aha moments happen.
Yes, and I honestly feel like one of the hardest parts of being a human is dealing or handling or processing emotions, depending on how we've been raised to deal with emotions. So,
Mm-hmm.
so again, for those listeners, some will be struggling with that stress or anxiety, all those just continuous triggers in their relationships. What
Mm-hmm.
one tool that you could offer guidance with today, something they could take away with them and maybe start implementing?
Well, the first one is is to recognize that, okay, what I'm having is an emotional reaction. It's not who I am. It's not defying my relationship. It's not defying my husband. I can look at it in a way that makes me feel better. And so even if you can't necessarily do that process in the moment, just when if you are in the heat of it, you remind yourself of that. And then when you have a quiet moment, you go through that. It's already like a pattern interrupt that happens. Sort of reminding yourself that, what is happening, it's not me, it's not whatever anger I feel or rage I feel or he feels. It's not defying our relationship. It's not who we truly are. I can take a step back and have a look at it in a way that actually is nourishing for me, it's uplifting to me and for us ultimately.
Yes. Wow, this is so powerful. I can see how this could potentially, I don't like using the word save, but save marriages, because especially this day,
Yeah,
and
turn them around.
yeah, we
Yeah.
really walk away thinking it's wrong or it's bad. But I love
Mm-hmm.
approach. Something I know that's worked for me is practicing that sacred pause, especially in the early days when I first met my husband.
Beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to ask you something that is it's a different sort of topic but similar. There's this theme going around at the moment, probably since COVID again, and where we are witnessing, well, the focus has been on women who are being recorded having moments, and they've been labeled as Karens. And I have compassion for these women, wondering, what their stress levels must be like to be reacting like that in public, maybe what they've been,
Mm-hmm.
they have a mental health issue. What's your take
Mm-hmm.
on that?
Well, I think once again, I feel like it's hard for me to generalize because I think that, yes, in a way you can generalize, but it's also so much about the individual. And so, in one way, so there are some women who I feel like, in a way, I feel like it might be, it's not politically correct, but I do feel that in a way, women right now often see themselves as victims. And I feel like when you cultivate that feeling state, then you feel entitled to your anger, you feel entitled to your rage, you feel entitled to, you start like not appreciating actually what you've got.
Yeah.
And I feel that there is some of that happening, and also there is happiness, everything going much faster. And so the demands being obviously much bigger, whether it is looking after your children and at the same time working, and at the same time wanting to look after yourself. And it's like it's so much on your plate, and also this way of living that is so common of just needing to go 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 go. I see like all the time. They've got children who they go to school, they work, the weekend comes and it's packed with activities, and so there is not one moment where they can actually rest and recuperate. And especially if they've got small children, they're sleep deprived, and I think that's also triggering those emotions. Like you can't really think that clearly when you're sleep deprived. Um, and so, yeah, it depends. I think it's a mix of things, but generally speaking, I don't encourage a mindset or a feeling state where you feel like a victim. You feel that something is taken away from you, and you don't have your rights, or yeah.
I love that response. Thank you. Beautiful. And there is so much to it. It's so individual, like you said. I'd love to know, what is the coolest thing you've been able to witness with a client through doing this work?
Well, what I super love, it's really seeing that they can start to believe in wellness. And when I say start to believe in wellness, is like starting to believe that life can be good in whatever area they choose.
Yeah.
And I find that's extremely empowering. Like when you start to actually believe in wellness, in the wellness of your relationship, in the wellness of your work, in the wellness of your body. It's like when you can shift to that and they start to believe again that that area of life can go well for them. That's a massive win. That's what I'm all about.
That is beautiful. We can go so far with that mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yes.
beautiful. And I have one final question for you, and this is again coming back to that anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety. It's very collective energy, and I'm wondering. I know
Mm-hmm.
a useful tip earlier, but what would be your go-to tool within this to assist
Mm-hmm.
someone, or even yourself? You said you've experienced this in the past. What
Mm-hmm.
go-to tool that just really helps shift that energy?
So there's two, I would say, two different things. One is to set up your day when you wake up in the morning. If you can, make sure that you have those 20 minutes
Mm,
where you sort of you whether you focus on appreciation, whatever is flowing. Like I'm not necessarily I wouldn't say like do this and that. Whatever you feel in the moment, that if you need to meditate or if you need to sit down and write about something that feels good to you, or just envision your day going in a more flowing way, that's just sort of like that sets the tone. But there's also the bit that you're in your day and boom, you feel anxious. What do you do then? And there are a few ways. Like one that I super love is to actually take a moment and you put your hand on your heart and the other one on your solar plexus, where we feel all our emotions, and you take a few deep conscious breaths and you start to visualize the energy that is in your mind going down to your heart. And this can take literally 30 seconds. And that is once again like a chemical interrupt in the body.
wow.
And so you can get, yeah, exactly. It doesn't take more than a minute just to shift the energy, and just sort of to remind yourself that once again, it is a perception. It doesn't have to be that way. You can look at it in a way that is more empowering, in a way that is more alignment with your own wellness and the wellness of everybody else involved. It's really like it takes it's a pattern interrupt, really.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Thank you for leaving that with us.
Oh,
Um,
you're very welcome.
Beautiful. For those listeners that are listening and they would love to learn more from you about, emotional intelligence, emotional mastery, and mindset, where can they find you, Claudia?
So I've got a Facebook group called Queens of Joyous Living. And you've got the link to that. And so I do post content. I talk about what I do in my sessions, and I also recently I started to do something that I've been really enjoying, which is I do some live card pools, so people can just write a question in the comments, and I tap into their energy, pull up a card, and the question can be about anything. Obviously, to me, it's always everything is emotional. So I will go directly to that and see, and find a way so that they can turn it around. But so yeah, I do this twice a week, and it's been a joy.
Amazing. That is cool. And I'll make sure that we pop that link and any other links to find
Yeah.
Claudia episode details. Thank you so much again for coming on to talk about this such important topic.
It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you. And thank you to our beautiful listeners. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a review and following us for more Spiritual Catalyst episodes in the future. Until next time, bye.
Bye.